For over 3 decades, the INF Treaty has been a landmark in arms control. It eliminated an entire category of nuclear weapons, making us all safer. Today, the INF Treaty ceases to exist because Russia has deployed the SSC-8 missile system. The new Russian missiles are nuclear capable, mobile, and hard to detect. They can reach European cities with only minutes of warning time. And they lower the threshold for the use of nuclear weapons in armed conflict. All NATO allies agree that these missiles violate the INF Treaty.
Western intelligence agencies are demanding that authorities are given access to encrypted chat services like WhatsApp. The move is driven by the US-led Five Eyes alliance, which argues it's needed to keep us safe.
We are concerned where companies deliberately design their systems in a way that precludes any form of access to content, even in cases of the most serious crimes.
We need to ensure that our law enforcement and security and intelligence agencies are able to gain lawful and exceptional access to the information they need.
The Five Eyes alliance contains intelligence agencies from the US, Australia, Canada, New Zealand and the UK. In 2013, whistleblower Edward Snowden revealed that members had been spying on each other's citizens to avoid their own domestic regulations.
In other news, North Korea fired yet more projectiles into the East Sea this morning. It's the second launch in 2 days and third in just over a week. The North is claiming that what it's been testing is a guided rocket system. Our Kim Ji-yeon has the latest.
North Korea launched 2 short-range projectiles towards the East Sea early Friday from Yongheung in Hamgyeongnam province near North Korea's eastern city of Wonsan. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said the projectiles reached an altitude of around 25 kilometers and flew some 220 kilometers, recording a maximum flight speed of Mach 6.9. That's around 8,500 kilometers an hour. This follows the 2 short-range ballistic missiles fired by the North last Thursday and this Wednesday, which, according to the Joint Chiefs of Staff, were fired in a northeasterly direction towards the East Sea, all flying at altitudes of less than 50 kilometers.
The commander of the Navy's Special Operations Forces is sounding the alarm about a breakdown in discipline in the elite Navy SEALs. His call to action follows a series of disturbing incidents involving members of SEAL teams. David Martin is at the Pentagon. So, David, what prompted this dramatic step?
Good morning. The Navy's top SEAL commander says some of his units have failed to maintain good order and discipline. So the SEALs, who were once the most glorified unit in the U.S. military, their commander now says, we have a problem.
We've got a sense of urgency.
Rear Admiral Colin Green, the head of Naval Special Warfare, put those words in boldface and underlined them in a letter he sent to his commanders after an entire platoon of 22 SEALs was pulled out of Iraq. They had been involved in a drunken 4th of July party, which resulted in charges of sexual assault, and then refused to cooperate with investigators.
Major explosion and fire at an Exxon Mobil facility in Baytown, Texas tonight. Multiple injuries, families rushing to the scene. The community told to shelter in place. Black smoke seen for miles, people told not to open doors and to shut off air conditioners as firefighters then battled the flames. Tonight, more than 36 people injured, and ABC's Marcus Moore is on the scene for us.
The fire at this Exxon Mobil complex in Baytown, Texas started with an explosion just before noon. Towering flames and a thick column of black smoke visible for miles. The fire burning in a facility that contains propylene, an extremely flammable gas.
We're seeing it lean a little bit more, it appears.
Officials ordering area residents and schools to shelter in place, turn off their air conditioning and keep their windows closed.
The focus of the inquiry will be the attacks on 14 UN-supported buildings in the Idlib region, a number of them hospitals. The Secretary-General was careful to establish his legal right to call for the investigation, well aware that it would be questioned by a few Security Council members. Russia was quick to condemn the SG's decision.
But we think that it was a mistake, and we regret that there was a pressure on Secretary-General from the part of the countries that really don't want to bring peace to Syria. There is a lot of fake news about this, a lot of fake situations, like the recent ones. So we doubt very much that this is for the sake of investigation. This is for the sake of blaming Syria and Russia of the things that we do not do.
After a third death from Ebola in the Congolese border city of Goma, Rwanda briefly closed the through road, a drastic attempt to limit the disease's spread, but one that threatens the livelihoods of those who commute between the two countries. Hours later, the border was open again, the UN saying closure actually makes it harder to contain Ebola.
There are more remote areas where if you can't go across the main border, you can find a different way. And when that starts to happen, then the ability to check to see if people are symptomatic or not becomes that much more difficult. So it's actually quite counterproductive and not in the interests of either country.
Nearly 2,000 people have died from Ebola so far, but it's been difficult to tackle the virus because this part of the DRC has seen a complex 20-year civil war being fought between rebel groups and the government.
Now a special report. 3,000 tons of highly contaminated toxic mercury waste remains uncleared in Cato Ridge in KwaZulu-Natal. The deadly chemical was imported and dumped by British-based giant Thor Chemicals after it shut down operations in that country in the 1980s. The 2013 projected deadline to remove the waste has since passed. Now the Environmental Affairs Department says it'll serve notice to Thor to come back and clean up this mess, as eNCA's Sipa Mandlagoge tells us.
Some former employees are dead, while others remain sick. Mercury is described as a powerful neurotoxin that can lead to blurred vision, memory loss, tremors, brain damage, coma, death, numbness and headaches.
It's the latest step taken by Saudi Arabia's rulers to open up the conservative Muslim kingdom. 2 years ago, they allowed women to drive. Now they have expanded female citizens' social rights and freedoms even further. A series of royal decrees signed by King Salman bin Abdulaziz have changed regulations regarding travel, civil status and work. Under the new rule, women over the age of 21 can travel or obtain a passport without permission from a male guardian. They will also be able to register childbirth, marriage or divorce and have the right to employment without gender discrimination.